Okay, other leg, put your other leg in. Hey, put your leg in. Thank you. Okay. Nothing like eye level with Coop, am I right? Okay.
All right. That's what bridesmaids do.
Baylen Dupree's wedding dress disaster. Zipper drama sends everyone into panic. Baylen out loud. Baylen Dupree's wedding day was supposed to be one of the happiest and most unforgettable moments of her life, but the pressure surrounding the wedding dress may have turned into a full-blown nightmare. What should have been a simple final fitting reportedly became a stressful moment when zipper drama threatened to ruin the entire bridal look. Suddenly, the dress that was supposed to make Baylen feel confident and beautiful became the center of panic, frustration, and uncertainty. For any bride, the wedding dress carries enormous emotional weight. It is not just another outfit. It represents months of planning, expectations, excitement, and sometimes even a dream that has existed since childhood. For Baylen, the stakes appeared even higher because so much attention had already been placed on her wedding journey with Colin. Fans have followed the relationship, the planning, the emotional moments, and all the unexpected chaos surrounding the big day. So when the dress itself seemed to become a problem, viewers immediately had questions. The biggest issue was the zipper. A zipper might sound like a small detail, but when a bride is minutes or hours away from an important wedding event, even a tiny clothing problem can become a major emergency. If the zipper does not close properly, the dress does not fit correctly, or the fabric begins pulling in an unexpected way, there is very little room for mistakes. That is exactly why the wedding dress drama became such a stressful situation. Baylen's dress had to look perfect. It needed to fit comfortably, photograph beautifully, and allow her to move without constantly worrying about whether something might go wrong. But when the zipper became difficult, the atmosphere reportedly changed almost instantly. Instead of focusing on the excitement of the wedding, everyone had to focus on fixing the dress. And that is where the panic began. Imagine preparing for one of the biggest days of your life, knowing that people are waiting, schedules are moving forward, and emotions are already running high, only to discover that the dress is not cooperating. There is no easy way to simply pause the entire wedding day and start over. Everything has been carefully planned around a timeline. The dress has to work. The bride has to be ready. And everyone around her has to stay calm. But staying calm during a wedding emergency is much easier said than done. Baylen's personality has always been a major part of what makes her story so interesting to viewers. Her reactions can be emotional, unpredictable, and completely honest. That means a stressful situation involving something as important as her wedding dress could naturally become even more intense. The zipper problem also raised another question: was this simply a temporary fitting issue, or was the dress genuinely at risk of becoming unusable? That distinction matters. A professional seamstress or bridal stylist can often solve many dress problems quickly. A zipper can sometimes be adjusted, replaced, reinforced, or temporarily secured. But when the problem happens close to the wedding, there may not be enough time for a perfect repair. And that is when backup plans become essential. A wedding team usually has to think several steps ahead. If the zipper cannot be repaired, can the dress be altered? Can the bride wear another gown? Can the dress be secured another way? Can someone make an emergency adjustment without damaging the design? Every question creates another layer of stress. For Baylen, the situation may have been especially emotional because she had likely imagined exactly how she wanted to look on her wedding day. Brides spend enormous amounts of time choosing the right dress. They consider the shape, fabric, style, details, accessories, and how everything will look in photographs. Once that decision is made, it becomes emotionally difficult to imagine wearing something completely different. That is why a wedding dress disaster can feel much bigger than a simple wardrobe malfunction. It can feel like a dream is suddenly slipping away. And of course, fans of Baylen out loud immediately began talking about the situation. Whenever something unexpected happens during a major moment in Baylen's life, viewers tend to analyze every reaction. Who stayed calm? Who panicked? Who helped? Who made the situation worse? And most importantly, did Baylen manage to keep her composure? The Colin factor also adds another layer to the story. Wedding days are emotional for both partners, but the bride and groom often experience the pressure differently. Colin may not have been directly involved in fixing the dress, but that does not mean he would be unaffected by seeing Baylen stressed. When someone you love is overwhelmed before a major life event, it can be difficult to know whether to step in, stay back, or simply offer reassurance. That could make the zipper drama an unexpected test of patience and support. The important thing is that a wedding does not have to be perfectly smooth to be meaningful. In fact, many couples eventually remember the disasters more than the things that went exactly according to plan. The missing flowers, the late guests, the wardrobe malfunction, the weather problem, or the last-minute panic can become stories that are remembered and laughed about years later. So even though the zipper drama may have felt like a catastrophe in the moment, it does not necessarily mean the wedding itself was ruined. There is also something very relatable about seeing a bride deal with an imperfect moment. Social media often creates the illusion that weddings are supposed to look flawless from beginning to end. Perfect dress. Perfect hair. Perfect makeup. Perfect photos. Perfect ceremony. Perfect reception. Real weddings rarely work that way. Something almost always goes wrong. And Baylen's zipper drama is a reminder that even a highly anticipated wedding can experience unexpected problems. The real question is how Baylen handled it. Did she break down? Did she laugh? Did someone manage to fix the zipper at the last second? Was there a backup dress waiting? Or did the problem turn out to be much less serious than everyone initially feared? Those unanswered questions are exactly what keep fans interested. More importantly, the incident highlights just how much emotional pressure surrounds a wedding. It is easy for outsiders to look at a beautiful wedding and see only the finished result. But behind those perfect photographs are dozens of tiny decisions, last-minute fixes, nervous conversations, and people desperately trying to make sure everything goes according to plan. Baylen's dress drama may have lasted only a short time, but emotionally, it could have felt much longer. And perhaps that is what makes the story so compelling. A wedding is supposed to be about love, commitment, and starting a new chapter. The dress is important, but it is still just one part of the day. If the zipper caused panic, the real victory would be getting past the problem and continuing forward. Because at the end of the day, the perfect wedding is not necessarily the wedding where nothing goes wrong. It is the wedding where something goes wrong, everyone takes a breath, and the couple still gets to say, "We did it." For Baylen and Colin, the zipper drama could ultimately become one of those unforgettable wedding stories. What started as a potential disaster might eventually become a funny memory they tell for years. And for viewers, it is another reminder that behind the glamorous wedding moments are real people dealing with very real pressure. The dress may have caused the panic, but the bigger story is how Baylen handled the unexpected challenge. Because when the zipper refused to cooperate, the wedding itself was not necessarily falling apart. It was simply becoming a little more real. And sometimes, those imperfect moments are the ones people remember forever. The wedding dress drama may have started with one stubborn zipper, but the emotional impact could have been much bigger than anyone expected. Once a bride realizes something is wrong with her dress, it becomes almost impossible to think about anything else. Every second feels important, every movement feels risky, and suddenly the biggest question becomes whether the entire bridal look can be saved. For Baylen Dupree, that pressure would have been especially intense because the wedding day had already carried so much anticipation. Fans had watched her relationship with Colin develop, followed the wedding preparations, and waited to see what the final celebration would look like. The dress was supposed to be one of the biggest reveals. Instead, it became another source of chaos. The zipper problem also created a situation where everyone had to work together. Wedding emergencies rarely have a single person responsible for fixing everything. Someone has to inspect the dress, someone has to calm the bride, someone has to look for supplies, and someone has to make a decision about what happens next. That is where emotions can easily collide. One person might say the zipper can be fixed. Another might think the dress needs to be replaced. Someone else might suggest making an emergency alteration. Meanwhile, the bride is standing in the middle of it all, wondering whether her wedding day vision is disappearing right in front of her. Baylen's reaction becomes the most important part of the story. A dress problem is frustrating, but the real emotional challenge is maintaining perspective. When you have spent months imagining one particular moment, even a small problem can feel enormous. The brain immediately starts imagining the worst possible outcome. What if the zipper breaks completely? What if the dress cannot be repaired? What if there is no time for another option? What if the photographs are ruined? Those thoughts can turn a simple clothing problem into a full emotional spiral. But wedding professionals have seen these situations before. Dresses can be complicated pieces of clothing. Multiple layers of fabric, fitted sections, delicate materials, buttons, hooks, corsets, and zippers all have to work together. A dress that looks perfect on a mannequin may behave differently once someone is moving, sitting, walking, or dancing. That is why final fittings are so important. If the dress is slightly too tight, the zipper can struggle. If the fabric is under tension, the zipper may stop halfway. If the mechanism is damaged, forcing it can make the problem worse. The worst thing anyone can do in that situation is panic and start pulling aggressively. That could turn a repairable problem into a genuine disaster. So the pressure is not simply about fixing the zipper. It is about fixing it without damaging the dress. And that is where patience matters. For Baylen, the experience could have been a test of how she handles unexpected problems during major life moments. Her wedding was never going to be completely predictable. No wedding is. There might be schedule changes. There might be emotional moments. There might be unexpected reactions from family members. There might be little details that do not go according to plan. But the couple still has to move forward. That is one of the most interesting aspects of a wedding story like this. The ceremony itself is often presented as the final destination, but getting there can be chaotic. The dress is just one example. The people around Baylen also become part of the story because their reactions can either reduce the pressure or increase it. A calm person can make a huge difference during a crisis. Sometimes all a stressed bride needs is someone saying, "We can fix this." That reassurance can completely change the mood. And if Colin was nearby during the situation, his reaction would naturally become another point of interest for viewers. Fans often pay attention to how couples behave when something goes wrong, because those moments can reveal more than perfectly planned romantic scenes. Anyone can look happy when everything is going smoothly. The real test comes when something unexpected happens. Does the couple blame each other? Do they communicate? Do they laugh? Do they stay supportive? Those reactions can say a lot about the strength of a relationship. A wedding dress zipper may seem insignificant compared with the bigger commitment Baylen and Colin were making, but stressful moments have a way of revealing personality. And there is another possibility that should not be overlooked. Maybe the zipper drama looked terrifying, but ended up being completely manageable. That happens all the time at weddings. A bride notices something wrong and immediately thinks the day is ruined. Then a professional steps in, makes a small adjustment, and suddenly everything is fine. The emotional roller coaster can be enormous even when the actual problem is minor. That could be exactly what happened here. The bigger lesson is that perfection is impossible. Wedding content on social media often focuses on beautiful dresses, stunning venues, emotional vows, and glamorous photographs. What viewers do not always see are the moments happening just outside the camera frame. Someone is fixing makeup. Someone is searching for missing jewelry. Someone is calling a vendor. Someone is adjusting the dress. Someone is trying to keep the bride calm. Someone is checking the clock. That behind-the-scenes chaos is part of almost every wedding. Baylen's story simply gives viewers a glimpse into that reality. And perhaps the zipper drama ultimately made the wedding more memorable. Years from now, Baylen may not remember every tiny detail of the ceremony. She may not remember exactly what music was playing during every moment, or what everyone was saying. But she might remember standing there while everyone tried desperately to fix the zipper. Those are the stories that become family memories. The moment that once felt like a disaster eventually becomes the story everyone laughs about. Remember when the wedding dress almost refused to cooperate? That kind of memory can become more meaningful than another perfectly executed detail. For fans of Baylen Out Loud, the situation also fits the unpredictable nature of Baylen's journey. Her life has repeatedly included moments where plans collide with reality. The wedding was never going to be immune from that. The important thing is that the zipper did not define the day. The relationship did. The commitment did. The people surrounding the couple did. And ultimately, the wedding was about Baylen and Colin beginning a new chapter together. If the zipper was fixed, the panic ended, and Baylen finally stepped into her wedding dress feeling confident, then the crisis had already been defeated. And if the dress needed a last-minute adjustment, that still does not take away from the meaning of the day. Because a wedding does not become special because every detail is perfect. It becomes special because two people choose each other despite all the chaos happening around them. That may be the real story behind Baylen's wedding dress drama. The zipper may have caused the panic. The fitting may have created the stress. The unexpected problem may have sent everyone scrambling. But none of that could change the reason everyone was there. Baylen was preparing to marry Colin. And once the music started, the guests gathered, and the ceremony moved forward, the zipper problem became just another chapter in their story. A dramatic chapter, perhaps. A stressful chapter, definitely. But eventually, just a chapter. And that is why this wedding dress disaster could end up being remembered not as the moment everything went wrong, but as the moment everyone came together to make sure Baylen's big day continued. Sometimes the most unforgettable wedding memories are not the perfect ones. They are the chaotic ones. The unexpected ones. The moments nobody planned. And for Baylen Dupree, that stubborn zipper may have given her wedding story one more unforgettable twist.